Yeah, so I think a lot of people are familiar with Darren Willman from his website, Baseball Savant. We were familiar with it a number of years ago. We actually went through a process with him, an interview process with Darren a little over 5 years ago, before he joined MLB, and we were close to. Well, I don't know. We thought we were close to hiring him. We made him an offer, but he ultimately accepted the offer with the league at that time, and a number of people in the office have maintained contact with him over the years. Obviously, his skills and his resume are pretty apparent, kind of from on a very public standpoint, with Savant and all the work he's done with the league and all the resources that a lot of us in the game use. I know a lot of you all in the media use it as well. And when Todd Slavinsky was with us, kind of running our systems department, recently chose to pursue a different career path and something a little bit outside of baseball, and so it kind of put this on our radar again. And Ryan Murray, who maintained a relationship with Darren over the years. They had a little bit of an informal conversation that led to a more formal discussion, interview process, and we're really thrilled to be able to bring him on board. I think Darren's very innovative, cutting edge, very creative in the way that he can use or take information and kind of repackage it in ways to help a variety of end users make the most of it. So I think he'll help us in coming in and helping us utilize information in a variety of decision-making processes. I think he'll help us in preparing information in a way that our players and our coaches and scouts and other end users can utilize the information to help them prepare better. So really excited about it. I think he goes jumps in and working with Ryan Murray and with under Josh Boyd and that group, we're going to elevate not just our analytics department but the whole operation and in a variety of ways. So excited to bring on Darren and really excited for him and his family. He lives in Houston. So it's this is a little closer for him from a commute standpoint than New York as well, and an opportunity for him to be part of a team, which I think in talking to Darren is something that he's excited about. The idea of competing, winning and losing, competing for a championship and being part of that is appealing to him, and we're really excited about it.
Does he get to keep working on the website?
No, so Savant is when he went over there, that was part of his deal. Was the league owns the website, so they'll have other developers that'll work on it, but the Savant will continue to operate and be a resource for the public and those in the game.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Evan.
So I just want to clarify, does this now make you a geek?
Pretty sure a lot of people would confirm I've always been a geek, Evan.
Okay. Hey, that really the question I wanted to ask was about his ability to repackage information. I think if you look at Savant and you look at what Baseball Farm used to be, or Minor League Farm used to be, it takes graphics and it allows it to be presented in a language that layman can understand. And how I'm asking how important that is to the whole element of being a more data savvy organization. Everybody's got to be able to understand the language.
Yeah, I think if you look at just the evolution of how we've kind of taken in information and utilized it for over the last 20 plus years. I mean, you used to spend 90% of your time gathering the information, 10% of the time analyzing it and putting it to use, and then probably 10 years ago that flipped, and we had tools that everything's right at your fingertips. I think now one of the greatest opportunities is kind of what you're touching on, is the ability to take complex things and put it in either in words or in visuals, or utilize tools to present it to whoever may need it. It might be a decision maker in a draft room, or it may be a performance coach looking at workload, or maybe a player looking at ways that they can improve and work with the coaching staff. So I think that the ability to present information is paramount. There's so much of it, and it can be overwhelming. And as you've seen with Darren's public work, he has a real ability to present it in a way that makes sense more often than not. So looking forward to him coming in here, working with the rest of our leadership team. I think a big piece of it right now is for him to kind of observe how we make decisions, some of the processes, the various meetings, draft meetings, etc. Sit in an advanced meeting with the coaching staff, and then kind of let him do what he does and make recommendations to us, and how his work can potentially help us in streamlining some of those things.
Roster-wise, Davis came out of last night okay in Round Rock?
Yes. Yeah, he's doing well.
Expect him to play at least one more game down there?
No, I think he's probably we're probably gonna activate him here either tomorrow or Sunday. But I think he was going to head up this way today and just be prepared.
And that, does he have to go through another round of intake testing on that?
He doesn't know because he's on the same testing protocols down there. So once you're at the alternate site, once you're at Round Rock AAA now, it's not the alternate site anymore. Once you're there, you have to go through intake testing at the outset of that when you first go for 2 days, but then you're effectively considered in the bubble.
And MLB released that 7 teams were now 85% and 5 more will be. Are you in that group of 12?
We will. We have. I'm not sure exactly which group we're in, Evan, but we are. We're at the 85% mark as of a few days ago, and we've still got to wait out the 2 weeks from that point. But we're looking at about the third week of May. We should be officially in that group.
Thanks, JD.
Mm-hmm.
CJ.
JD, I wanted to ask you about the taxi squad and how you guys might use it. I mentioned it to Woody, and I'm really curious about with the success of the alt site last year, if you could almost use it or would consider using it as part of the development, thinking about, say, a starting pitcher in between who maybe comes up for 3 days to throw a bullpen in front of Zags and Doug or something like that. What are the plans for the taxi squad going forward?
Yeah, so I think we're going to utilize it kind of on a trip-by-trip basis. So, this trip's kind of interesting. We may take a couple guys with us to San Francisco next week, but then we're in Houston after that, and so we'll, anyone that comes with us, we probably would send back, when we get back to Texas, since Round Rock's just a short drive from Houston if we ended up having a need, and we'd rather those guys be able to play. So I think we're going to try to do it on a case-by-case basis as needed. I would imagine we'll probably take a pitcher and maybe a catcher on most trips. But I'd like to avoid taking 5 guys. That's kind of disruptive to their development, to the AAA team. But your point is well taken. I think there are opportunities there where if somebody's gone down and is working on something, that it may be an opportunity for them to come back and maybe throw their side here with the big league staff. It would have to be kind of a specific, the schedule would have to work out just right for that, but it could definitely play out. We're not going to have a set, we've had these 5 guys going with us on the first 3 trips. We're not going to have that anymore, I don't think. We'll take it case by case.
And wanted to ask about Andy Ibanez. Woody had some really great things to say about the data, his ability to hit different pitches. Jason said he's the best in the organization as far as getting to the most amount of pitches. And I'm just curious of the variety of pitches, velocity, spin, all of it. And I'm just curious about what his playing time could potentially look like, where the organization is right now, and is there any possibility he's going to get some kind of extended look with some regular playing time, and how that might fit?
Yeah, he's one of these guys that I think top to bottom everyone wants to get that opportunity. Interesting. We we played the Blue Jays earlier, and Gil Kim is on their staff, and he was involved in signing him here, and he raved about him. It was, same kind of thing. He was like, man, I hope he gets that opportunity. And saw Thad in Minnesota, who was involved in signing him, and same thing. He was excited for Andy to get that opportunity, and so everyone wants him to get it. The reality is the positions he plays are on the infield. We're in a good spot right now, and so I think it's got to be a combination of things. A player deserving the opportunity, which he absolutely does, and then from a team standpoint, it making sense for us. One of the things that Andy has done a really good job of, in addition to swinging the bat, is giving himself chances at more positions. He's worked at first base. He's worked at left field. We know he can play second and third. So I do think that he is kind of at the top of the depth chart in a number of spots if we have a need, if we have an injury or another situation. So right now the role is in more of a part-time, kind of a timeshare situation. But if there is an injury somewhere, he would likely get that opportunity.
When you talk to Darren, just ask him how is it possible that catch that Joey made at the end of the game yesterday had a 95% catch probability. I don't think I'm buying it. Thanks, dude.
You got it.
Sam?
I'm just curious if, I guess now 5 weeks in, the team obviously seems to be, fairly competitive. Have your expectations or outlook on the season evolved or changed at all?
No, not really. I mean, first of all, let me say that I've been really pleased by the way we've played the game. We've set out with some very kind of clear goals from a culture standpoint, but also from a style of play standpoint and effort standpoint. And the guys have been great. I've been on 2 trips now. My hat's off to Woody and the coaching staff. There's always something going on. There's a real high energy level around the club, and we're throwing strikes. We're playing good defense. The opposing team has made their coaching staff has made comments to us about recognize the way our guys are running and the energy level that we're playing with, and so those have all been big positives, and I think that's contributed to. Some wins here recently, and hopefully that keeps going. I think we've said all along we're not going to put any limits on this club. We're going to make decisions with the longer term in mind, for sure. But we don't want to put any limits on any individuals or on this team. And I give the players done a great job of buying in. Everyone's got a role, and they're all. There's a fun camaraderie around the team right now.
I want to ask you something that Ian said, I think, about a week ago, where, I guess he felt maybe his 2020 numbers might not have been indicative of kind of where he was, and that a lot of players, I guess, had that same situation maybe. Obviously, at this point, it probably feels like maybe you got to deal with him, but do you kind of see the point that he's making, and what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the role he was in last year, which it wasn't kind of consistent outing to outing. I think that's something that he expressed to us in the off season and in the spring, right before we signed him, and then after we signed him was, I think he values and benefits from the kind of consistency there. And he was, he's been great. He's happy to throw in, it doesn't have to be the 9th inning. He's been open to throw in other spots, but I think one of the things he was saying was just that the routine was something that he would benefit from, and so that may have played a part. I also think in general, like making evaluations on last year it's really challenging. Not too dissimilar than making big evaluations off of spring training or instructional league, or you're talking about a 60-game set with the start and stop nature of what we did and all the other things that were kind of hanging over us. I wouldn't want to be evaluated on that, and so I think it's only fair we kind of give guys a little bit of benefit of the doubt if they struggled last year.
Jared.
Hey, JD, I'm curious, from an R&D standpoint, you look back like the last 2 years, where do you feel like organizationally you guys have made the biggest strides in the various parts of the chain, whether it's team building or in-game strategy? Like, what developments have you been able to notice from the work you guys have put in and the resources that you guys have invested?
Yeah, without getting into specifics, I think the biggest change is just the demand for it internally, the desire for and demand for information. Players, coaches, scouts, decision makers, everybody wants more. You go back 10 years, even 5 years ago, it was a little bit more of maybe a push down, versus right now people are kind of like there's a more a demand oriented relationship there where guys want help, they want information, they want the edge. I think you've got a situation where we're developing, I should say, we're drafting and signing players that are growing up in an era of, they've grown up with Baseball Savant, they've grown up with MLB Network, and they've grown up with a variety of tools and fan graphs, and that's their expectation. This is not people may say, hey, that's new terms or new metric. They're not new to these guys. Like our players are growing up in an era where this is the baseline, bare minimum expectation, and that we have an opportunity and a responsibility to deliver that information to them in a way that they can utilize. But I think the biggest change has been just that it used to be a little bit of a kind of at times a fight to get people to be open-minded to certain things, and it's not that way anymore.
Language and the understanding is way different now than, say, 10 years ago. 10 years from now, not asking you to predict, but is there a part of the game that you wish, as much as we're now better able to assess and analyze this, that, and the next, that I'd really love for the data to grow in a way where we can better analyze this part of the game or that part of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you're ever going to get there specifically in these areas, but I mean, anything we can do to help keep players healthy, I would think that is the single biggest opportunity out there. And we have a number of new ways to measure from a biomechanical standpoint and workload standpoint. So I'm hopeful there, but that would be a huge, not just competitively for the Rangers, but for the industry, to get our best players on the field and keep them on the field safely, and for our fans to see that see our best guys out there. I think that would be a huge win for us.
Two more quick ones, and then Josh will come in. Jeff?
What is Kyle Cody's status?
Kyle is he got a PRP injection last week, and he is going to be down for. It's basically what he has is a bone bruise, which the good part about that is it's not a long-term injury. It's not something that we're concerned about beyond this. Once this heals up, the downside to it, it's probably going to take several weeks to heal before he picks up a ball again. So I think we're looking at he's going to probably miss. I don't have an exact date, but longer than we initially thought.
How did he acquire the bone bruise?
Just pitching. Just pitching. Kind of. It was explained to me in a way that I would butcher if I tried to explain it to you. But both Keith Meister and our training staff are confident that it shouldn't be an issue going forward once it heals up.
Right, and then just one more. Bubba Thompson's off to like this great start. I know it's only 3 games, but how much improvement has he made since the last time he was on the field?
Yeah, he was at the top of the list of guys we were excited about last spring, and had a great spring training in 2020, and so we talked about how tough it was to evaluate guys last year, and then he had a little bit of a run here at the alternate site. He's had another good camp and has taken off. So listen, Bubba's always a guy who's been able to do everything on the field. You know, the amount of contact that he makes is going to, dictate, and hard contact is going to dictate, what his role ultimately in the game is. I think his secondary skills are probably good enough to give him a chance as a backup, even if the bat didn't develop. But the bat has shown some real promising signs here in camp, and good to see him get rewarded early on.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Last one, Alex.
Hey, John, with the Chris Davis roster move coming this weekend, is the aim to probably send a pitcher down to split it at 13-13?
We haven't made that call yet, Alex. It could go either way. Yeah, we're going to kind of take it day to day here. We've had with Kohei out, and we're effectively in this last time there was a 6-man rotation. It's that extra pitcher is a nice luxury to have. The good thing is we're finishing up a stretch of 19 straight here next week. But then I think we've got 11 straight after that. I think it was like 30 out of 31 days or something like that. So the extra pitcher has been a benefit to us, and we haven't quite made that call yet.
Okay. We'll bring Josh Spores in now.